Okay, you're gonna like this. This property belongs to Robert Gibson. He's my ex-wife's stepfather. I'm helping him build this house here. Anyway, he's been fighting back and forth. This is the house, and this is the garage. The garage is already completed, and that's my car. He's been fighting with the city of Dunedin for years. Okay, they're constantly giving him a hard time because he bought this property, paid cash for it. He owns everything on the property. Does not does not have a mortgage or own any kind of bank loans or anything like that. He owns it completely. The city, this basically have turned into children, having temper tantrums. They're fighting with him. They've made this whole thing personal. These columns here in the front, a few years ago they gave him permission to build them 6 feet tall. And then they turned around and they said no, they can only be 3 feet tall. And started fighting him every day until he would correct the problem. But he ended up going to court and proving that they gave him permission, so he ended up beating them over that. A week before Christmas, they decided to come out and turn off his power. He wasn't behind on his bill. The city told the power company, Florida Power, to turn off his power. For some code violation that they won't even name what the violation is. A week before Christmas, Merry Christmas, coldest time of year, because he's staying here. This is his land. He owns it. And they're trying to kick him off his own property. And when they put notices up on this garage and the house saying that he could not occupy it because it wasn't. One of their reasoning was because it wasn't illuminated after they took his power away. Yeah, you could tell these people what they're doing is pretty low. Yesterday they came up and dug up his water meter. Okay, didn't turn the water off. They dug up and took the meter away. Okay, and they put up police barricades closing off the front of his property. But he got the DOT to tell him no. They gave him permission, the Florida Department of Transportation gave the city permission to put a chain link fence up. So they ran a chain link fence across the whole front of his property, denying him access to his own property, denying him access to his work site. How can you get deliveries if this stuff is going on here? Okay. What concerns me is if there happens to be a fire. Let me just get across the street here real quick. If there's a fire, the fence goes across the whole property. Okay, the fire department would have to either go around the fence or cut through it to get to the house. Okay, the time it would take them to do that could determine whether or not the house can be saved or whether it's going to burn completely down. So this is the city of Dunedin. They're just complete scumbags. They turned it into a personal war. I told code enforcement when they came out and tried to talk to me that I was not going to get in the middle of it. If I was to get in the middle of it, I'd have to drop a few IQ points and start acting like a child, because that's basically what I see is a bunch of children having temper tantrums. One of the reasonings for putting the fence up was to keep them from driving over the sidewalk. Okay, they just poured the sidewalk a couple years ago. It's 7 inches thick. You're not going to break the sidewalk, number one. Number two, when you're driving, leaving or entering your property, you have to drive over the sidewalk anyway. Not to mention the fact that their own city trucks drove across the sidewalk yesterday, and I got pictures of it. Okay. They're doing everything they can to run him off his own land. They're telling him if he doesn't leave by tomorrow, they're going to start fining him $50 a day, or $250 a day, until he leaves. This is the city of Dunedin. What concerns me is, if you're a resident of Dunedin and the city does not like you, are they going to try to run you off your land? Are they going to try to run you out of your own home? How can they tell you you have to leave your own property? He doesn't own my car, of course. It's mine, my Lincoln. But this house we've put a lot of work into, and like I said, the land is his. The city of Dunedin has turned this into some kind of personal vendetta because they had a disagreement a few years ago and are being very childish. They doing it. I mean, why? They turn the water off. I mean, why take the meter? Why not just turn the water off? If you have a problem with the water, turn the water off. Not take the meter. They took the meter. They're trying to halt his construction of his home, keep him from building his house, and it seems like they're going to do anything they can to make that happen. So, if you have an opinion on it, go ahead and voice your opinion. But if you're thinking about moving to Florida, I would not come to Dunedin, because not with the people who are working, not with the city officials who are there now, because they will give you hell for just because they can. That's it.